feeling out there? Man, I wish I could read all of the gratitudes that were dropped down in the chat. Absolutely exceptional. So many people grateful for this skill that they've acquired here with iMastery Academy, grateful for this opportunity. They're grateful for this, community. You guys, I'm a firm believer that in today's day and age, that community is the new currency. Community is the new currency. All right. You're up there, Melanie. I can see you. Okay, perfect. All right, guys, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your grace as we're figuring out technology, which is a beautiful thing when it works exceptionally well. And then sometimes it can be challenging, just like people, just like life. But guys, it's an absolute privilege and an honor to jump in here this evening and be asked to share with you guys. And I'm hoping that my voice is going to hold up. But I consider it a privilege and an honor to get to share with some things that we've learned over our 13-year career to help you guys grow your business, grow your customer base, expand into multiple countries, multiple continents, and attract a winning team so that you can go out and do something significant from a financial standpoint for you, your family, your future, your organization. You guys drop some love down in the chat. Drop some sevens in the chat for Mr. Christopher Terry, Mrs.
Recording in progress.
Mrs. Isis Delatorre for creating this amazing, amazing company. And now somebody's recording this and I can't move anything. I'm frozen. Are you there, Mel?
Yeah, you just have to hit continue. It should give you the option to continue on your Zoom whenever somebody starts recording. See, guys, you're learning. As you become a leader and you start doing your own Zooms, when somebody hits record, you got to hit continue or you just sit there frozen.
Go ahead and take it away here, Mel. I can't see my cursor, so I'm just...
Find the window? Okay. You might have to exit out and go from there, but yeah. Sorry about that. All right, guys. So obviously, my name is Melanie. This is Greeenough. We have been in the direct sales industry for 13 years. We absolutely love what we do. We have very different backgrounds. So I want to start there just so you guys can kind of know where we're coming from. We weren't born networkers. Greg was actually an oil patch worker, like oil sands worker. He worked very hard, long, strenuous days, awful conditions, often working 90 feet in the air, 40 below weather, which would be like, I don't even know what that is, Celsius or Fahrenheit. Very, very, very cold. Eyelashes freezing shot cold. Not a good work environment and a terrible mental environment, which is even worse than the physical conditions. The mental environment is very negative. I grew up as in a family that had small businesses. We were always, just below not enough money. Right? So one pair of shoes, one jacket for school, etc. And so Greg and I didn't know each other when we got started in network marketing. We were introduced to a company. We had somebody call us. We met at a meeting and we were married in 6 months. And now one of the things that we were doing just before this call was we were going over our gratefuls. We were talking about how grateful we are for our vision and our future. We were talking about how grateful we are for our current business partners, for the new leaders coming. But what we're most grateful for is each other, because in this type of business or in life or in anything that you want to be long-term successful in, you really have to find your running mates. You have to find your team, and people will come in and they'll go out, and that's okay. But when you find the people that are committed, that stay the course, that stay on the track, that hold the vision, man, there's a depth to that kind of experience that changes people's lives. And so I know Greg's getting this up and running, but we're going to talk about attracting a winning team for long-term success. Now, we firmly believe that leaders are made, they're not born. So if you came here tonight and you're hoping this is going to work for you and you're not sure yet, that's okay. You can be bred into the type of leader. You can be bred into a chairman 10, chairman 25, chairman 50, chairman 100. That is all learned skill. What you have to decide is your desire and your commitment to that desire. And you hear Alex and David talk on this all the time. If you're new here, make sure you tune into their trainings. But a big part of transforming your life and building a winning team is having your desire go from a tiny little seed prestige to an overwhelming obsession. And I say it that way because in the book, Think and Grow Rich, it says we have to fan our desire into a flame. But it says a very specific kind of flame. It says a white hot flame, a white hot desire. Why? Because a white hot desire is what changes metal. It changes the consistency of metal so that it can be molded into a tool that's used for a purpose. And that's exactly what we have to do with our desire. So, Greg, did you get your thingy situated?
I think it's working. Is it working on
your
own?
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to pass it over to Greg, but I just want to tell you guys that one thing that I've watched Greg do for the last 13 years, day in and day out, ups and downs, when people are watching, when no one's watching, when things are going good and when they're not going good, because that business is cyclical. Everything has its ups and downs. Greg has stayed the course on his vision, stayed the course on his passion, stayed the course on helping other people realize their dreams and staying focused on where they're going. And trust me, that is not an easy feat. When you're working with people, it's a little bit like herding cats, right? So you have to get good at disciplining yourself and your own vision and your own activities so that you can then lead by example. And that's what I've watched Greg do for the last 13 years, day in and day out, all day long. So with that, Mr. Greg Greeenough.
Amazing. All right. Well, I'm so grateful that A, you married me, and B, that this technology is working tonight, because I don't know what the heck was happening, but we're excited to share this information with you guys. So my hope is that you've already grabbed a pen and a paper. You've heard, all of the leaders across the board inside of this company always talk about how the note takers are the money makers. See, early on in my career, 13 years ago, actually 12 years ago, I had a mentor that used to say, Greg, don't just think it, ink it, delegate it to paper. Something magical happens when you write it down. And then I read a book, and it was talking about in this book how Einstein retained something like, I think it was like 11% of whatever he read, saw, or heard in an hour. And so for me, I'm like, well, if Einstein's at 11%, that puts me at like 1%. I don't know about you guys. So want to encourage you guys to get a notepad and a pen, because we're going to be going through this fast, furious. We're going to be covering some stuff today that you can absolutely implement for yourself and then teach it to your organizations. And here's the key recipe in this industry. After 13 years in this chosen profession, I don't know a whole bunch, but I do know one thing, and there's a process to it. And it goes learn, do, teach. Learn, do, teach. And I know we've got some other chairmen on this call, and you've probably seen, or maybe you were one of these. I think I tried to be early on as well, where we go and we learn some things and we want to skip over the doing and go right to the teaching, right? Looking for the clout. I'm just telling you right now, guys, if you sincerely want to do something big for you and your financially for you and your family, if you sincerely want to do something big, you want to make an impact in other people's lives, you want to grow an organization of tens of thousands of people all over the world, help this company achieve its goal of 1 million customers by the end of 2021, I want to encourage you, learn, do, and then teach. So this is your Super Bowl. So many of us get so freaking excited watching the NBA playoffs or the NHL playoffs or the NFL playoffs, right? And we're cheering our favorite teams on, and we should. I mean, who doesn't enjoy watching excellence, right? It's amazing what these athletes can do. But I think most people, probably 98% of the population, get more excited about their favorite team winning their Super Bowl than they do about their own success. So we're going to talk about you. We're going to talk to you about your success and you going out and getting after your Super Bowl instead of just celebrating everybody else winning theirs. And hey, listen, I'm all about celebration, and you should be celebrating them, but you also got to be in the ring yourself, right? You got to be going after your Super Bowl too, because hey, listen, people are looking to you. People are counting on you. So understand, now that you're an independent business owner here at iMastery Academy, you are the CEO, you are the coach, and you are the quarterback of your Super Bowl championship team. So you want to choose wisely as you're building your organization. And so one of the things that one of our early mentors taught us to do was to go after, he called them A players, right? You can call them leaders, you can call them influencers, whatever you want to call them. They're just people, 5-star players, right? 1 star, you know they got the money to get started. 2 stars, they're people. People love being around them. They're influential. They have authority. You know, usually people are listening to them when they're in a group. You know what I mean? They're always adding value to other people. These are the type of people that will help you grow your business by multiplication instead of just addition. You guys drop a 1 down in the chat if you want to learn some things tonight on how to grow by multiplication instead of just addition, right? Now understand, just like the process of learn, do, teach, first you got to start an addition, right? And let me tell you, addition's a whole lot better than subtraction. You know, something works, nothing doesn't, right? So my point is as you get better at the addition part of things, you're going to get better working with people and finding what motivates people and helping them grow in multiplication. But I'm going to give you some stuff. We're going to give you some stuff tonight that you can apply moving forward today so you can start that process of growing in multiplication. So one of the things our mentor told us early on was he said, create a written list of the different characteristics that you would want in a business partner. Like, for example, you guys drop a 7 in the chat if you'd like to have Alex Morton in your organization. Drop an 8 in the chat if you'd like to have a David 𝗵𝗎𝗓𝗍 in your organization, or an Ivan Tapia, or a Matt Rosa, or a Jason Brown, or a Bryce Thompson. Come on, right? Like, so here's the thing. You know, we always hear people, I get this question almost weekly from people in our organization. They're like, how do you recruit leaders, right? Have you guys ever had that question before? Or have you actually asked that question? How do you recruit leaders? And here's the answer. You don't. You attract them. Leaders are attracted by the type of person that you are. So here's what he taught us to do. This is what I would encourage you to do. It's something I work on a weekly basis. It's something that I don't work on enough, to be honest with you, because this is the magic right here. So create a written list of the types of qualities you would like to see in your business partners, right? So for example, when you think about Alex, when you think about David, when you think about Ivan, when you think about Matt, Jason, Bryce, when you think of these chairman 500s, 250s, right? What are the qualities and the characteristics that they have? So if you're taking notes, you might want to, maybe there's some ideas being stirred right now of some of the qualities that David has, that Alex has, that Ivan has, that Jason, Matt, right? Are they hardworking? Are they determined? Are they disciplined? Are they dedicated? Do they show up even when they don't feel good? Do they show up when all hell breaks loose in their life? Are they committed, or are they just interested, right? See, there's a big difference between being committed and interested. See, commitment is doing the thing that you said you would do long after the feeling's gone that you had in the moment that you said that you were going to do it, right? One of my favorite quotes of all time out of any book that I've ever read comes from John Maxwell, and it's a quote on commitment, and it says, "Until I am committed, there is a hesitancy, a chance to draw back. But the moment that I definitely commit myself, then God moves also, and all manner of unforeseen incidents, people, places, events line up, conspire to make the thing happen." Commitment's a very liberating thing, freeing thing. Do you even have to question whether Alex, Ivan, David, Matt, Jason, Bryce, any of these guys are committed to their business, to their teams, to helping this company reach its goal of 1 million customers all over the world before the end of 2021? Do you even have to question that? So hardworking, determined, dedicated, they show up. They're not easily distracted. They're in it to win it, right? See, winners always want the ball. Winners always want the ball when you're going after a Super Bowl championship. They want to show up. They want to show off. They see the chance to win. They're team players. Loyalty. They're loyal. Oh my gosh. And they're willing to sacrifice. You guys, little side note here. One of our business partners, Richard Oostra, he's a chairman 25. Shout out to Richard, just moved to Costa Rica. Thank you, iMastery Academy. But Richard was sharing something with me. It was about a month ago. And he says, Greg, you know, I put a lot of thought into this. And he goes, when I look at all the top level networkers in our company and around the industry, he said a lot of them, almost all of them that I'm aware of, we're all athletes. And it got me thinking, I'm like, it's true. Like, if you think about it, not all of them, but a lot of them. Why is that? Qualities, characteristics, values, team players, coachable, right? They want the ball. They're team players. They're hardworking. They're disciplined. They're determined. That might be a little note that you put down with an asterisk, and they, as you're making your list of contacts of people that you want to grow your organization with, who do I know that's an athlete? Who do I know that's been a high level athlete, right? Who's coachable? Who's teachable? Who's willing to learn new things? So these are some of the characteristics that I would encourage you guys to write down, or whatever characteristics you want in a business partner. And then here's the key. It's one thing to write down what it is that you want, but understand, you don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. See, you don't get what you want, you get what you are and who you are. So I love this. So one of my first mentors in the industry, his name was Paul Orberson. He was the #1 money earner in a company back in the early 90s. He started his own company. But he said, when back in the early 90s, when he was in his heyday, and by the way, you can look this up. I believe, well, there's going to be people in iMastery Academy that absolutely blow this out of the water. But to this day, I believe this record still holds, where he has earned the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time in the history of the industry. Back in the early 90s, this guy was making like 1.4 to 1.8 million a month for 44 months in a row. And he said back then, there was no cell phones. Think about this, how blessed we are in this day and age. No cell phones, no Zooms, no back office. They had no idea what anybody else in their organization was doing on a weekly, daily, or monthly basis. At the end of the month, they'd get a printed report mailed to them. But he said what kept him going, he said that's probably one of the biggest blessings for him, is he couldn't go into his back office and see what anybody else was doing. You know what I mean? He had that mentality of, if it was to be, it's up to me. But he said he used to look himself in the mirror all the time and ask himself this question before he went to bed. And I was reminded of this the other day. He said he used to look in the mirror and say, if everyone in my business did exactly what I did today, how big would my business be? What kind of business would I have? So remember what I was saying, guys. Just because you write these characteristics down on a list doesn't mean you're going to get them, right? At least you're focused, right? You're writing the vision, you're making it plain, right? So he who sees can run towards it. So it's on your mind, it's on your thoughts, you're thinking about it, talking about it, speaking about it. But here's the thing. This is the challenge, is to become that person, is to acquire those skills, acquire those characteristics that you admire in the Davids, the Ivans, the Alexes, the Jasons, and the Matts, and the Bryces, right? Those qualities that you admire that got them to where they are. Any one of us can develop them. You guys, here's something that you probably know subconsciously, but might not believe. But there's nothing special about special people. There's nothing special about Alex or Ivan or David. It's what they do and who they've become that makes them special. See, leaders aren't born, they're made. Where Alex and Ivan and David and their skills, these are all things that are acquired, guys. They didn't just come out of the womb like that. Paul Orberson used to always say, there's only 2 things that come natural to human beings: crying and sucking. Crying and sucking. Only 2 things that come natural to us human beings. Think about it. Those of you guys on this call that have kids, right? When you have a brand new baby, what are the 2 things they inherently know how to do? They know how to cry and they know how to suck. That's it. Everything else is learned behavior, guys. So I'm telling you that if Alex, if David, if Ivan, if Matt, Jason, Bryce, and I mean, if I start listing all the chairman 500s and 250s and 100s, I just want you guys to know, if they can acquire the skills, if they can develop the qualities and the characteristics that they've acquired, so can you. And if God can do it for them, he can do it for you too. It's just whether or not you're tough enough. It's whether or not you're going to see the job through. It's whether or not you're going to overcome yourself so that you can become the biggest, best version of yourself, so you can attract those types of people as well. Because remember, you don't get what you want. You attract who and what it is that you are. Birds of a feather flock together. Let me tell you, and I'm going to pass this over to my wife. Inside of your organization, if you've got a bunch of whining, complaining, thumb-sucking, diaper division crybabies in your group, you picked them. If that stuff's going on, the chances are pretty good that, like, listen, when I look at the issues that are going on in our organization and have gone on, it's because it's in me and it hasn't been worked out in me. There's something in leadership where you have to take on this like 150% personal responsibility for exactly where you are and the type of people that you're hanging around and the things that you're attracting into your life. Any one of us on this call can become bigger, better. We can become more, we can do more, we can give more, we can acquire more, all of us. See, we're God's highest form of creation, and greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. So with that, I'm going to pass this call over to my beautiful bride, Mrs. Melanie Greeenough. She's not only the beauty in this operation, but she's also the brains, thank goodness. And I'm kind of the guy that just says, tell me where to go and how to get there, and I'll go get it done. So you guys, my wife, Melanie, I actually met her in this industry. I want you to understand this. I've been in the industry for about a year. I met her in my first company, and we were met and married within 6 months. I had no business experience, no sales experience, none of that stuff. I just had an above average desire to get out of the oil patch. And when I met Melanie and we started dating and all this, she had a traditional business background, and she taught me some principles and some things on how to work with people, how to develop business, how to scale. And you guys, my income quadrupled in a couple of months when I started working with my wife. This woman is very determined, hardworking. She's cut straight to the chase. She's very direct. You either, like, here's the thing. The people that know her and work with her absolutely love and admire her. And then there's people that she might rub the wrong way because she tells the truth, but she always tells it in love. So you guys, drop a 7 down in the chat if you want some truth, because listen, the truth will set you free, but first it might piss you off. So with that, Mrs. Melanie.
You're awesome. Okay, here's the thing, you guys. I love what Greg was talking about when he said, as you grow, as you become an A player, you will attract higher level A players. And it doesn't mean that people are better than the other, right? It doesn't mean that somebody who's starting out that doesn't have any skill or characteristics is better than an A player. It just means that your business is going to grow quicker. You're going to have less struggle, less headache, more duplication with A players. So I want to just make sure that I'm really clear that as we're talking about this, you guys, first we learn what Greg said. We got to learn what an A player is and start to act like one, right? As we start to act like an A player, we're going to attract A players. So that's number one. Number two, anybody can become an A player. How do you do that? We have to talk about our experience. And our identity. Your identity, how you see yourself, is very important. Every single one of us has a model